Happy International Zine Month! Today is day 10 and the prompt for today is Botanical. For me, that meant figuring out all of the different ways I could capture botanica elements to use in my illustrations. My first step was to collect my botanicals. You can gather your materials from a variety of different resources. The easiest way to do this is to grow your own, either in your garden or in pots in your home, and then harvest, although if you're like me, you're rubbish with plants and you're going to opt for one of these other methods. The method I use the most is wandering around local parks, woodlands, and natural areas. Ensure you only take what you need and try not to take too much of any one species. If you're on private property, always ask permission before picking any flowers. I also like to scout out the bargain bin at the supermarket every time I go because you can save some wilted flowers from a trip to the bin. Also, by buying the cut price flowers, you're choosing to shop ethically, not only by saving waste, but also by helping to protect the environment by not funding cut flowers. You could also get in contact with your local florists and ask them if they have any offcuts or disused flowers that you can have. Offer to pay for them, and most likely you will get a good price for florals that they cannot use, and you might even get them for free. Remember to go in with a good attitude and always be polite. Garden centres are also a perfect place for collecting botanicals. I mean, please don't steal flower heads and leaves from the healthy plants for sale. Instead, look down at the ground, as you'll often see bits of plants that have been jostled around and fall into the floor. You get to save these broken florals and give them new life. With all of these collecting tips, please be respectful, leave any natural spaces as you find them, don't take more than you need, and use caution, wear protection where you need to, and always wash your hands when you're finished. In this scene, I collected all of my botanicals from my parents' garden. Thanks, Mum! And after sorting through my druid's hoard, I began my zine with an illustration. This zine is a glimpse into my sketchbook process. It was an experimental journey for me to create, which translates into a fun how-to guide for you to learn all about how to add more botanical elements into your own art projects. As an artist, my first instinct was to capture my botanicals in an artful method first. I chose to illustrate a pansy with inks and watercolour paints, and while it was only a quick study, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. This was initially just intended to be a pretty front cover, but also serves as another example of a capturing method. Use your art skills! The next method I used was pressing. Pressing is a classic method of preserving botanical resources to use for art purposes. The easiest way to do this is to take a bunch of large, heavy books, then layer your collected flowers and leaves sandwiched between sheets of paper, waxed paper works best, and leave them for a couple of weeks to flatten and dry out. You can also use a custom-built flower press to enact the same idea. Or you can speed up the whole process by using a microwave. This is my first time trying this and it was fantastic. Simply fold a sheet of ordinary printer paper in half, arrange your natural elements on one half of the folded page, and then fold it up with a piece of kitchen roll in between. Find a microwave-safe dish that will cover your paper with a flat bottom. Then place your paper in the microwave with the dish on top to flatten, and then set the microwave for 50 to 80 seconds. Be careful when you take everything out as the dish may be hot. Peel your paper away from your plants and ta-da! They've been flattened and dried in the microwave in less than a minute. This method is great and such a game changer for me. I'd never used this before, but I happened to see it on TikTok when I was browsing and it is perfect. This is so much better than leaving it in books to dry out for ages when sometimes they go a little bit mouldy, whereas with this method it's instant and they dry out perfectly and flatten perfectly, so I'll be using this a lot from now on. Next up is sealing. Here you use your freshly collected plants straight away and preserve them under a sealant of your choice. I used Mod Podge for mine, but you can also use resin, PVA glue, clear wax, varnish, maybe even hot glue. This works best with already flat botanicals, and you simply layer up your sealant on top of your chosen plant and then leave to dry. This creates a super interesting textured effect, and preserves flat petals or leaves really well. While my Mod Podge was drying, I used the rubbing method to create my next capture. I used graphite pencils with tracing paper to create my echo of these leaves. I've never tried the hammering method before, but I have jeweler's tools and this was a Pinterest project that I've been wanting to try for a while. I had mixed results. The more succulent and wetty your plant is, the better, but even then it takes a bit of testing to figure out which plants are going to work the best. Happy experimenting with this one. Last but not least, we have printing. This one was really fun as I love using bright colours in my work and making a mess with paint. I accidentally ended up using the pansexual pride flag colours, clearly just embodying my sexuality in all aspects of my life. I used acrylic paints for my plants and used a thin to medium coating to achieve a detailed, vibrant print of my leaves. This method works best with botanicals that have a lot of texture in them. Simply paint on your chosen colours to your plant, place on your paper and press down hard. Then remove the leaf and you have your print. After all of this experimentation, I photographed and digitised my zine. And then I printed, cropped and folded and popped it into my store. If you want to pick up your own copy of this how-to guide, hit the link in my description below and get up your copy of the Capturing Botanical zine now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed learning how to capture more botanicals into your artwork. Drop me a comment down below if you have any other methods of capturing natural elements in your work. I'm always looking to learn more. And let me know which method was your favourite and which one you use most often in your work. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more zine related content from me and more tutorials coming soon in the future as well. That's all for now, see you tomorrow, bye!